Hey, it's Meatball.
And Mark.
And this is the Rocker Morning Show on demand from 107.7 RKR. 107.7 RKR, it is the Rocker Morning Show with Meatball.
And Mark Frankhouse.
Need to start the morning with a little chill out there because it's been a stressful 24 hours.
Yeah, what is happening over there?
Well, as a lot of people know, my folks live in Florida now, and Hurricane Milton went across the state last night. I think it's almost the eye of the storm is almost across the peninsula now, but about I don't know, somewhere in the middle of the night, I made landfall in Sarasota as a Cat 3 storm, and it came on land a little further south than where my folks are at because they're more up toward the Orlando area.
Right, like is it like the Panhandle area?
No.
Or is that where you vacation?
Central. That's where we vacation.
Oh,
yeah.
okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
we go to Destin. That's Redneck Riviera there, the Panhandle. Yeah. No, they live in Central Florida there in the peninsula. So
Gotcha.
They weren't going to get like the storm surge or anything like that, but they were in some of those areas where it was like they're going to get enough rain that if you live in a low-lying area, you should probably consider getting a higher ground.
Yeah, no joke.
But they do live in a higher area, so I don't think as far as I know, there haven't been any issues. But the storm came on land last night. They had dozens of tornadoes. Like the footage of the tornadoes coming out of the storm is pretty incredible. Yeah, the storm surge came up on the coast. Everything was a little wild. I got some updates from them kind of through the night because it's funny. My dad, he once he's out. Like he's just asleep, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Mom, she'll wake up every once in a while. She woke up, I don't know, I think she posted something about 2:30 in the morning and was like, I woke up and it looks like power went out about 1 o'clock. And they didn't have any at that time. However, I did see an update right before I came into work. It looked like they had power back.
That's good.
So that's good. But it did look like they had some of their rain spouts were blown off the house a little bit out in the yard. They had some gusts up into like maybe around 80 mile an hour, and they were supposed to get about 15 inches of rain.
Jeez.
And it's still raining there. It has been raining there since about this time yesterday. So
Good Lord.
But it all sounds like they're doing okay. I know there's a lot of people in the path of that storm, though, that we're not in the best of areas. There's I don't know if you know about this guy. He's a TikToker, and he calls himself Lieutenant Dan.
No.
You've seen Forrest Gump, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. This guy is literally a double amputee. He has no legs. He lives on a boat, and he lives in Tampa. Lieutenant Dan is going to be riding out the storm. At least we hope he made it through on his boat in Tampa. Now, if you remember from the movie Forrest Gump, it is because Lieutenant Dan rode out a hurricane on his boat that Bubba Gump Shrimp actually became a thing. So maybe that's what he's hoping for? I don't know, but but
nothing good will come from this.
I don't think so either. But he was the last check-in I saw from him on TikTok, because he's a TikToker. He was there. Like him and I forget his first mate's name or whatever that lives on the boat with him. But yeah, he's still, I almost said still kicking, but he has no legs, so that can't be right.
God damn.
But yeah, I'm intrigued to see how he does in this storm. It's going to be interesting to see if we can find him on TikTok. So hopefully everyone else, I know there's other people too that have family and friends, that were in the path of the storm. I hope everyone's doing okay, that everyone is accounted for and everything's good to go. As the sun kind of comes up today, we'll be able to see kind of what the damage looks like. There's the storm went across the state, and as it kind of takes off there to the east. But some good news that did come out of last night, not Florida related. Your Tigers won.
Oh yeah, we did. 3-0.
That was a big win, man.
And I think we're gonna close it out today.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You going to the east side to see history, Mark?
No, I'm not, because history is live on my television for not $150, where I can sit down instead of standing room only, and the beers are not $16. They are, free.
This is a decade in the making, Mark.
Sure. Yeah, go over there, have fun. Let me know how it is. Have fun standing for 6 hours.
I mean, I do that quite a bit already, actually. But I don't get to watch history in baseball, you know?
Yeah, well, history is streaming on ESPN Plus. That's where I'm going to be.
1077 RKR, it is the Rocket Morning Show with Meatball.
And Mark Frankhouse.
So the Palisades nuclear plant out in Covert Township likely going to get restarted next year.
Right.
But there are some people saying that this could be a, quote, nuclear zombie scenario if they do this. So the plant got shut down in 22. It was 50 years old, put in its time, and there were concerns over, some faulty pieces and equipment that they had. But because they were going to shut it down anyway, they just didn't replace it. And they shut it down a little early. So they started breaking it down, took all the spent fuel and radioactive equipment and stuff, stored it, let it all cool down per se. And then what was going to happen after that is basically a 10-year process of just, taking care of everything and making sure it's properly disposed of, blah, blah, blah. Well, the government is trying to restart and build new nuclear power plant facilities across the country. And they approached the company that owns Palisades, Holtec, and said, hey, we're going to give you a grant if you can start the power plant back up. And they said, all right. So they have now gotten grants and monies and donations and whatnot to get this plant back up and running. The plan is to have it running again October of next year. And if this happens, it will be the first ever nuclear plant in the United States to be shut down and then restarted in American history, which is kind of cool. This is where people have concerns, apparently. A group who is openly anti-nuclear everything, so take it with a grain of salt here. They have concerns that since this has never been done, a test, and to test whether it can be done on a nuclear plant, because this sits on Lake Michigan, all of our drinking water, essentially, 21%, I believe, of the fresh water in the country, they believe this is dangerous and it could result in a, quote, nuclear zombie scenario. And it took me about 12 paragraphs of this insane, wild email that they sent out, this release that they put out, to understand that they were referring to the plant as being a zombie, like a nuclear zombie.
Right.
Instead of turning people into zombies because of the nuclear plant.
That's what you thought they were meaning?
There was a lot of words, man.
Brain no work good when lot words.
Right. But I mean, if you do hear somebody talking about a nuclear zombie incident with Palisades, that's what they're referring to, is the resurrection, so to speak, of a nuclear plant, as opposed to just turning people nuclear.
I remember I wrote about this earlier this year because that was big news. Because like you mentioned, this has never been done before. So there are risks, but I would imagine that they've weighed all the risks and that they're pretty comfortable about this moving forward.
Yeah. They know what equipment needs to be replaced and fixed, and they know all the pieces are there. And for the most part, nothing has been sitting there long enough. It's only been closed for 2 years. Nothing has been sitting there long enough for it to deteriorate to the point where they can't use it anymore. So yeah, I think everything is going to be fine. But if you want to read more on this and kind of some of the organization info about, who's talking about this, we've got that up at WRKR.com. Now, should this turn into a situation where Lake Michigan does get contaminated, now this is a very, 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 very low chance. I think we would actually know pretty quick, because the sturgeon would probably get even bigger. And I have watched enough horror movies and monster movies to know that if there are sharks in Lake Michigan, like there are presumed to be, they would be the first to feel the effects of any nuclear accident and turn into giant shark monsters that eat, ore haulers whole. There'd be legends of the Lake Michigan shark monsters eating ships,
I love how you live in this fantasy world where these things that don't happen, but if they did, it would definitely be like a comic book.
Just one day, you'll be taking photos of the Mackinac Bridge, and a nuclear Lake Michigan shark will fly out of the water and bite it in half, and then it'll swallow Mackinac Island whole.
It's time to turn up your dials and tune out the traffic because we're playing The Daily 5 on the Rocker Morning Show. Testing the mental magnitude of your favorite morning monkeys on the radio. And now, your hosts for The Daily 5, Meatball and Mark Frank House.
It is the Daily 5 where Mark and I ask each other questions. The other one answers. Today, I'm asking the questions. Mark is answering. Mark, you got some help on the line today from Jeff. Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
I'm great.
Awesome, dude. You got to help me get 3 out of 5 questions correct. If you do, we will not only get the win for the day, but that will make it 7 weeks in a row that we have won the Daily 5.
Just rub it in, why don't you?
I'm just stating facts out here.
All right. Question number 1. This is entertainment. When Hummer finally released its iconic vehicle to the public, who was the first person to buy one? Was it Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, or Jay Leno?
Leno's a car guy. I'm going to go with Leno.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. Like, of course, Meatball picks 2 like action beefy dudes and then Jay Leno. But yeah, Leno is a car guy, so that would make sense. So I'm with you, Jeff. I say we go with Jay Leno. Final answer.
Jay Leno, final answer.
Yes.
No, I'm sorry. I clicked the wrong button. It was the Governator.
Wow.
Schwarzenegger got the first Hummer. Sorry about that. I really did click the wrong button.
Sure.
I've not had enough coffee this morning. Things are not functioning properly, let me tell you. All right. Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger bought the first Hummer.
That's
kinda
funny.
Cool. Question number 2, this is literature. The story about Aladdin and his magic lamp was originally set in which non-Arabic country? Was it India, Japan, or China?
The only one that makes sense to me is India.
Yeah, except I asked Meatball this question before,
You did?
and I know it was China.
When did you ask me this question?
Last year sometime.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, it was definitely China.
Jeff, are you good with that?
Yeah, we'll go with China.
All right. Boy, I'm off to a great start this morning. let me tell you.
I can remember these. They just stick in my head over time.
Oh my God. All right, question number 3. This is history.
All right.
The world's first photograph was taken in the 1820s in what country?
Man,
Was it America, France, or England?
America, France, or England? 1820s. Man.
What do you say, Jeff?
I'd say it's got to be one of the old world countries, so I'd go with France.
For some reason, I feel like I remember asking Meatball a question
Oh, come
about
on.
one of the earliest photographs that was taken. And I don't think it was this particular answer, but I think I remember looking it up. And I feel like it's America. I feel like it might actually be America.
We can go with America. I trust you if you've done that before. The
Man,
question.
I don't know. It just, for some reason, it rings true. It rings like in my head that it's America. But
That stuff just sticks in your head, right?
Jeff, I think we should side with America on this one and see where we go from here.
Perfect. Let's go with America.
America. Final
answer. France.
France.
It was in
Okay.
France.
This is why I always ride with my partners, man. I start thinking for myself and then I start losing.
All right, question number 4. This is sports. How many stitches are on a regulation baseball? Is it 188, 208, or 216?
I believe it's the small one, 188.
188.
What makes you lean that direction, Jeff?
I saw a documentary on baseballs being made one time and how they treat the leather and everything. And that just seems to stick out, that number.
188. You know what? I went against you the first time. I'll ride with you on this one, Jeff. We'll go 188, final answer.
188, final answer. No, it is the high number, 216.
Wow, 216. Well, Jeff, we could not get the victory for the day. Meatball forces a game 5 tomorrow, so the pressure's on him to break the 6-week winning streak, the longest in Daily 5 history that is unprecedented. See, now I'm rubbing it in.
Yeah,
That's
now,
what rubbing
now you're
it
rubbing
in.
it in. I can literally feel the salt in my wounds right now.
Jeff, regardless of all that nonsense, you won tickets to Donut and Beer Festival. You're the real winner here, brother.
I appreciate you guys.
Hey, man, thanks for trying to give me the W today. That was a tough one.
Yeah.
You know, aside from all the questions that I've already asked you before.
107.7 RKR, it's a Rocker Morning Show with Mark Frankhouse.
And Meatball.
So during the pandemic, restaurants were trying to come up with some unique and innovative ways to get people to come out and support them. Times were really tough for them, so they had to try to come up with some new ideas. And, you know, as well, try to come up with some ideas to keep their patrons safe without getting sick.
Right.
That was the tough part. Yep. You know, one of the biggest trends that popped up during this time was the igloos.
Oh, yeah, I remember those.
And Bell's, I think Bell's was one of the first ones in the area to put the igloos up. So basically you could just gather with a small group of friends inside of an igloo. And that also came in handy as well. Like you could just order drinks, get some dinner. This happened a lot in the summer, but it even came handy in the winter because some of these came heated. And we found out recently that our friends at Warner Vineyards have purchased some, and starting this winter, you can rent these out and have photos on the 107.7 RKR app and check these out. These things look nice.
Yeah, these are very cool. I remember like towards like the middle to end of 2020 there, like people were they were looking for any way to get people out of the house and do stuff that was still within like, you know, the parameters of what they were allowed to do. And it was like, listen, if we can isolate everybody that's already isolated together and still be able to go out and do stuff and you know, also patronize the restaurants and stuff too, and allow people to come back and be servers and work and whatnot. Like, these were a great idea at the time, and they're very cool too. One of the coolest visuals I have of these things is there was a brewery in the town I was living at, you know, when this happened, and they had these igloos out and they had all the lights and stuff, you know, on the inside and whatnot. There was a group of friends of mine that went and ate there, and it started snowing while they were in the igloo. So while they were there, they were taking photos of the snow falling down on it. And then when they walked out, you could see like the lights coming through the snow on the outside of the igloo and stuff. It was very, very cool.
Man,
it's a neat experience.
I've never done this before. And I'm kind of curious because I've seen a lot of different kind of variations of these igloos. These ones in particular look really nice.
Yeah.
Again, if you want to check this out, it's up here on the 107.7 RKR app. And the igloos are going to be available to rent soon at Warner Vineyards in Pawpaw. I just went there to their website, and I don't see any place where you can sign up for them now. But I'm sure they're going to be adding a feature on their website where you can reserve a table. The heated igloos can seat 6 people comfortably for like private dining experiences.
Very cool.
And there's 6 of them. So cool. I want to know if you've done this as well. 978-1077. Give us a call and tell us if you've ever eaten or drank in one of these igloos and what you think of them as well.
Yeah. As nice as they are, I kind of wish we could dine in a real igloo though, you know?
Well, yeah, but first that would require snow, which who knows if we'll even get enough or if we'll get any this winter.
I mean, come on, Mark. You got to believe in La Nina.
Believe!
107.7 RKR. It is the Rocker Morning Show with Meatball.
And Mark Frankhouse.
And a little earlier than we normally have him in the studio, but Jake from Presidential Brewing.
Here I am.
Man, you just appeared this morning.
It's what I do. Yeah, exactly. You guys should really watch your door more carefully.
That's what we get for propping it open. No,
right.
This is a big day for you. Obviously, we do First Beer of the Weekend. We're doing it tomorrow. You'll be back in the studio after 9. But we brought you in here today because this is rather big. This is something that you've been working on for a few years now, and you got a big initiative that you're pushing today. And this is going to help a lot of people in the community here who have that interest in doing what you did, and that's opening up a brewery, which I got to imagine is not an easy thing.
It turns out that I never had a manual, and so I guessed wrong a lot along the way. And yeah, so part of the inspiration for this was just reflecting back on when I knew literally nothing, having never worked in a restaurant or a brewery, and decided to open one of these things. I'm like, okay, well, let's just see how this works out. And my hope is I wrote this book in order to kind of introduce people to different ideas, things that can kind of get you started, because it's really intimidating from the outside looking in. If you've never done something like this, it feels overwhelming. It feels like there's too dang much to think about, that you can't possibly cover all of it. And the reality is that if I could pull it off, I believe that most people could too.
You're right. Like, you didn't have like a starting guide. And so somebody out there who's thinking, I'd like to start a brewery, but I have no idea where to even begin. This is like a perfect guide for that, because it's coming straight from someone who was in their position before.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the book is called Shifting Gears. It's the ultimate roadmap to crafting your own legendary brewery or restaurant. The whole point of this book is to, first of all, the kind of makeup of this book is it's comparing this process of opening to driving a stick shift vehicle. And there's different gears in a stick shift, and neutral is kind of a place that a lot of us probably don't proceed past. Neutral, I had this great concept. I think it'd be super cool. I've also done absolutely nothing to get closer to it.
Right.
And so neutral is a place that a lot of ideas form, but they don't really go past that. And so this book kind of helps give some practical steps that'll get you to move from neutral into first gear. And then what do I do when I'm in first gear? What does that look like? From there's a second gear, there's a third and a fourth gear. And what is that progression? What should I be doing when I'm in each gear? And how do I know when it's time to shift into the next one?
So how long have you been working on the book?
I started writing this last year in November. It's wild that is just all done now.
Right.
And yeah, I hear it's coming out today for release, and I'm just like, I don't know how I was entrusted to do this, but here we are.
Where was the inspiration to write the book? Was that something that came to you, or somebody presented to you?
No, that's something that probably came to me. And I think what it comes down to is I have a heart for helping people to accomplish something. And I think part of it is, for me, the first 4 years of running this business were really, really, really hard. Really hard. Years 5 and 6, incredible. Like, game changer. I love that we get to do this now. And my hope would be, if anybody out there is trying to do the same thing, how do I fast forward that first 4 years for that person? What if we could make that a year and a half? It's Shifting Gears, the ultimate roadmap to crafting your legendary brewery or restaurant.
Right. You're having an event today with this, right?
Yes. Yeah. I'll be down at Presidential tonight, and yes, people have asked me if I could sign their book, which is the weirdest thing. I'm not the guy that you ask to sign books, but sure, yeah.
But it's also available digitally as well, right?
Yeah. So we're gonna have this on Kindle for sure. The whole Amazon platform. So Kindle and paperback it released, and so yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm hoping that this reaches a lot of people. And if you love Presidential Brewing, there's some fun stories in there too that I think kind of just point to how we ended up where we are today. So I basically started writing this book when we started working together. That's interesting.
I wonder where that inspiration might have come from.
Dedicated to meatball.
That's right.
Apparently.
Yeah, that's right. No, seriously, we enjoy working with you, man. It's always a pleasure. It's fun, and we get to bring beer and happiness to people around the entire area. So thank you so much for this, man.
Thanks, guys.
107.7 RKR. It is the Rocker Morning Show with Meatball
And Mark Frankhouse.
And it is time once again for our Rocker Big Picks of the Week with Kalamazoo Athletic Wellness. We are joined in the studio once again, our good buddy Nick from Kalamazoo Athletic Wellness. Thanks for joining us, man.
Hello.
All right, we ready to get into this?
Yes.
All right, let's do this. Recap from last week. Michigan State beating the line, which was 21.5.
Proving that football is scripted.
Ducks did not cover by a half point. So points to Nick and myself on that one, but barely. We all got Western's win over Ball State right, though.
Yeah.
It's a lot closer than I think any of us had predicted. But it was a great game. We all missed the Texans beating the Bills. And yes, indeed, the Jaguars got their first win of the season at home. Mark, the only one that had no faith in Jacksonville. But I also want to point out the final score of that game was 37-34. My final score pick was 38-35.
Wow.
So I missed it by 1 point on each team. All right, let's go into this week's picks. Mark, you are up first.
All right, we're looking at number 2, Ohio State, and number 3, Oregon. And either way, Ohio State's going to let me down. As much as it pains me to say this, I either pick them and they lose, or I don't pick them and they beat me. So, you know what? I'm going to take Ohio State over Oregon 42-35 in a big shootout.
All right, Nick.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty awesome game this week. I think this is one of the
Yeah.
best games that we've seen this season. In
Number
college
2, number
football.
3, yeah.
So this is pretty exciting. I am going to pick Oregon. I think they're on a run. I think they're coming off a couple big wins, and they're pretty excited.
Quack.
So I'm going to choose Oregon. I also think it's going to be high scoring. I think it's going to be 42-35.
42-35. All right. I think, I think I'm going to have to go with Ohio State on this one because other than Texas, they've been the team that's probably been the most consistently dominant across the board. I know this game is in Oregon. I think it's going to be close. Again, air raid offense for both these teams. It's going to be a lot of balls thrown in the air. I think it's going to be Ohio State 45, we'll say 28, I think, for Ohio State on
Just
that one.
stomping
taking
them a
Oregon.
bit.
Yep. All right. Well, let's move on to Western Akron. This is going to be my game for the week. Western back home. 1-0 in conference play with a lot on the line this year. This is where the games really start counting for Western. Waldo's going to be rocking on Saturday afternoon. I think it's going to be a good one. I've got the Broncos 42-21 over the Zips.
Well, just because there's a lot riding on the line for myself as far as a score, I got to stray from the pack here. I got to take Zips 31-23.
Whoa, Mark, going against the home team.
Oh, that's your fault. You set this up. You're pulling ahead, and then you're like, oh, you want to get points? You don't have local pride, Mark. Did that on purpose.
No, I definitely didn't. Yes, I did. All right, Nick, what's your pick?
Well, I am obviously going with the Broncos, not just because I love the guys, but because the Zips are terrible. And the Broncos are at home, it's just too much weight against them. So I'm going to go with the Broncos, and I think they're going to win heavy-handed. It's going to be 40-17.
Oof.
40 to 17?
4-0, yeah.
4-0 to 17.
Wow.
All right, I like that one.
Nick, what's your game for this week?
Yeah.
My game for this week is Texas versus Oklahoma.
Yes.
It's the Red River rivalry.
Yes.
Both
Truly.
teams are ranked. Texas is number 1, and Oklahoma's ranking starts with a 1.
Very funny.
I like that.
Won the last meeting when Texas was ranked 3rd. So they do have experience with beating them when they're higher ranked. But Texas is on a whole nother level right now. And I expect a ton of points in this one. I'm going to pick Texas 45-38.
Man, I'm feeling like Oklahoma is going to be sprinkling some Sooner magic on top of the undefeated Longhorns, 38-32.
Now, I know a lot about this game because I have been there at the Cotton Bowl for it. I've been to the State Fair of Texas while it was happening a couple of times. It is electric, and no matter who is ranked higher, it really doesn't matter. It is anyone's game. I'm calling spoiler alert. OU hands Texas their first loss, 35-28. All right, finally, our Kalamazoo Athletic Wellness big pick of the week. Lions at Dallas. Detroit coming off bye week. Cowboys getting a much-needed win against Pittsburgh late Monday night. Game is in Dallas. I don't think it's any secret who I'm picking. This is a game that the Cowboys have had circled on the calendar since the schedule was announced. I'm going to be the bad guy this week. We damn boys! Dallas over Detroit. I'm picking... I'm sorry, Lions fans. I love you. Dallas 30, Detroit 28.
I feel sorry for you because after the NFL botched the Lions' victory in Dallas last year, the Lions will not leave it to one play to decide they want that W. 31-17, Lions going to steamroll over them boys.
Oh, man. Nick, how about you?
I'm in the same boat as Mark. I think they're going to be pissed off after last year's results, and they're just going to be like, you know what? We're eligible every play. So we're going to go with 28-14.
All right.
You know what? An additional prediction. Meatball on Sunday is going to be like, God, they should have waited to re-sign Dak.
I say that every week. I say that every single week. All right, bonus pick. At the time of this recording, we for sure know the Tigers going to be playing in Detroit on Thursday night. They robbed one on the road Monday night. Do we believe the Tigers are, 1, moving on to the ALCS, and 2, are they going to be playing the Royals or the Yankees? If they do, I'm going to straight up say yes, they move on. I think they're going to win this at home, win this series at home, and I think they end up seeing the Royals in the ALCS.
Yeah,
Mark?
I'm feeling that they're going to progress. That 3-run bomb to seal game 2 is huge. So I see them going forward, but I actually see the Yankees progressing and making this a real classic ALC.
I love it. Nick, how about you?
I like Mark's thoughts on this as well. I think there's really no doubt in my mind that Tigers are on a roll. They're going to keep it rolling. They got that one win away, and they're just going to seal it at home. So we'll see them progress, and yeah, classic. Tigers Yankees. It's going to be like it's 2006 all over again.
Old school ball. I love it. Hit us up on the 1077 RKR app. Let us know your picks. Make sure to visit Kalamazoo Athletic Wellness on Westnedge. Nick, tell our audience some of the great stuff that you're offering right now.
Well, right now we've got the free demos of the compression pants, which you guys are going to come over and try out tomorrow.
We're going to try and figure this out. Yeah, we're going to get it done.
Fun. Yeah, and then I want to encourage everybody, since Western is home this week, go get your tickets and come watch a local college football game on Saturday. It'll be fun.
I love it. All right, good luck this week with your picks, fellas. And if you would like to try your luck along with us, we got $20 in Michigan Lottery Lions scratch-off tickets for you right now. Easy enough. Just have to be lucky. Caller number 7 for those. 978-1077. Caller 7. You're getting those Lions scratch tickets.
Rawr, go Lions!
It's too bad you don't have any Cowboys scratch tickets this week.
Yeah, we're good on those.
I don't think so. They'd all be losers anyway. 1077 RKR. It is the Rocker Morning Show with Meatball.
And Mark Frankhouse.
And we have some guests in the studio. Please introduce yourself, fellas.
Barry Brown,
John Thayer.
And you guys are here with?
the Special Forces Brotherhood Motorcycle Club.
And this...
Fort Defiance.
Yeah. And John, I get to talk to you a little bit about this club before we did this interview, before you came in. This is not a normal kind of club in the sense that you would think for doing some of these events and stuff. You guys have people who are in different areas and different, not all necessarily military. Is that right?
No, to be part of the Special Forces Brotherhood Motorcycle Club, you have to be a former, retired, or disabled Green Beret, U.S.
Yeah.
Army Green Beret.
Yeah.
You have to have gone through the Special Forces selection and assessment course, or received your S identifier or your 18 series identifier. So it's pretty select.
unique. Yeah.
Pretty elite. And then, of course, it's a motorcycle club, so we have to follow basically the same rules that the one percenters and other motorcycle clubs do. You come in, you meet and greet,
Right.
you hang around for a while.
Yeah.
And you have to go through the whole prospect portion, and then you get patched in.
That's awesome. And you guys it's not just Michigan too. You guys have members that are in Indiana and kind of around the area too. Is that right?
It originally started, there was like 3 guys there in Ohio. They've been around. One of the guys was going to have actually 15 years in this year.
Wow.
The other 2 guys have got 10 years in. They wanted to start up. So they reached out. We've got 3 of us now from Michigan, 1 from Indiana. And then we formed our own little charter.
Fantastic. Well, it's a cool club, and we were chatting about that. And the reason you're here is because we have an event coming up this Sunday. You guys are doing is this an annual toy run that you've done before, or is this the first time you've done this?
Well, this is actually the first time. So
Okay.
we've been doing a lot of events there in Ohio, but at some stage, they want us to break off from Ohio.
Yeah.
They've actually kind of mentioned that I'm going to be the president of the Michigan charter. But this is our first event in Michigan. I'm originally from Pawpaw. Barry's from Three Oaks.
Awesome. Okay.
We decided, let's see what we can do something here in Southwest Michigan. Let them know that we're out there. See what we can do for the good of the community and for other veterans. So that's what we're going to do it.
Sweet. So what are the details of this event? What does it look like? And what can you tell us about this? This is going down this Sunday, correct?
Yes. So we're going to start over there at the dock, over in Bayview, over there in Richland.
Okay.
Registration is going to start at 10 o'clock and go until about 12. From 12 until 12:45, we're going to have like a little auction, raffle kind of stuff. 12:45, we're going to have a safety brief, basically describing the route, explaining the route, safety concerns, whatever else. Kickstands up at 1300, 1 p.m. for you civilians out there.
Thank you.
All right, and then we're going to take off, and we're going to ride about an hour and a half, end up at American Legion there in Hastings.
Okay.
Hang out there for about 45 minutes, just enough to kind of wet your whistle, catch a hot dog or something like that. Then jump back on the bikes and basically ride for about another hour and a half, and finally end up over at Gun Lake Casino.
Fantastic.
We will have a special guest there. Excuse me. Santa Claus will be leading this
Oh my
ride.
gosh,
So
yeah.
the part that we probably should have let off a little better with was this is a toy ride,
Yeah.
a toy collection. And if you bring a toy, that, of course, gets you a reduced rate on your registration, but you get to meet Santa. Santa's going to lead the ride the whole way around.
That's fantastic.
And we're going to do this as a Toys for Tots kind of thing, but we're not that late into November and December with our riding season.
Right,
So
right.
we moved it up to November or
Is it October,
here,
yeah.
right at the end, as much as we could.
Yeah.
And that way we can get Santa Claus involved, get some toys to kids,
Yeah.
take care of a couple of our charities.
I was going to say, what charities are you going through with this event?
So right now, Bronson's Children's Hospital.
Oh, great. Okay.
Okay, they do a great job
Yeah,
in Southwest
yeah.
Michigan. Special Forces Charitable Trust. They just recently pledged over $1.5 million to the hurricane for Helena.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay.
They've already started linking up with Special Forces associations. They're running Operation Pineapple there in Florida.
Okay.
Getting ready for
The Milton,
Tampa,
yeah, happening right now.
Tampa, getting hit.
Yeah.
And then our other one is Tunnels to Towers. That's always been a big thing for me, especially because I was in 5th Special Forces Group. We were the first ones on the ground after 9/11
Yeah.
there in Afghanistan. So what Tunnels and Towers does really hits home, for taking care of first responders. And now they're actually doing the adaptive homes for veterans. And I think it's a pretty cool charity.
That's great. That's fantastic. So this is the first time you guys are doing this run. I'm sure it's not overwhelming at all. I mean, you guys seem very relaxed about this.
Well, my hair's gray, and it's getting grayer.
2 weeks ago it wasn't.
I was gonna say you had brown hair last week. So.
Yeah, I wish. But no, I'm a little stressed out, but that's because we're all perfectionists. Special Forces, we're trained to do it and do it right the first time. But we know Murphy's out there, so I'm doing my best to stomp Murphy out as much as I possibly can between now and Sunday.
So if people want to contribute, let's say like they're not able to make it, or even if they are able to make it, is there a website that you have, or is there a Facebook group or anything that they could contact you to help out with the cause?
Yeah, we've got on Facebook we are SFBMC Fort Defiance, and you can find that pretty easy. On the flyers that are around town, there should be a QR code.
Okay.
And a copy of that should also be with the flyer on our Facebook page.
Yeah, and then if you just want to drop a toy off,
right?
The docks, got a couple collection boxes there.
Okay.
You can meet us there at Gun Lake Casino. You folks are providing a vehicle to put some toys in.
Yeah, we're gonna have.
I'm gonna rent a van. I originally thought we were only going to have maybe about 100 riders, but thanks to you folks getting the word out, I have no idea how many are going to show up.
Well,
I'm planning for more than 100 bikes.
Listen, the more the better in these situations. I've been a part of some of these toy rides before where it's been, 400 to 500 riders where it's, literally you're talking miles and miles of closed road while they're riding down the roads with this kind of stuff. And it's always pretty incredible to not only see, but hear from miles away as well. So it's pretty cool stuff. And, we're happy to be a part of this and happy to help you guys out, especially with the first time doing something like this and for such a great cause too, for a number of great causes on top of that. So, we're happy to participate. And again, just give some details when and where people can register and how they can register to be a part of this.
Okay, so show up out there at the dock at Bayview over there in Richland. Again, 10 o'clock. We'll be running registration until 12, maybe a little bit after if you got some late arrivals. But like I said, 12 o'clock, we're going to start the raffles. 1 o'clock p.m. we're going to take off, and we should be done probably about 4:30, 5 o'clock that afternoon. And the cool thing about it, if you get up at the casino there, it happens to be buffet with all-you-can-eat crab legs.
Hey!
And unfortunately, there's no crab legs up north in the North Pole, so Santa Claus is going to be chowing down.
Absolutely. And that's all going down Sunday. Again, SFBMC Fort Defiance on Facebook. You want to get all the info, we got that for you up there on Facebook. And fellas, thanks again. Best of luck this Sunday. I hope you guys have a massive turnout and it is very successful for your first run here.
Well, I appreciate all your time. Thanks for having us in this morning.
Fantastic. Thanks, guys, so much. 1077 RKR, it is the Rocker Morning Show with Meatball.
And Mark Frankhouse.
Well, the Tigers have a chance to close out the series tonight. What time is that game? Do you know? It's the earlier of the two, right?
It starts at 6:08. First pitch.
On TNT and also broadcasting on Max, which is the old the HBO app. I don't understand. Dude, I don't know what HBO's doing anymore.
Why are they mixing these games up?
I'm so confused as to where to watch some of these games anymore. It's like ESPN, Fox, HBO. What?
Right. It's like, come on, guys. Can you just make it easy for us?
Regardless, Detroit could close out the series tonight at home in front of the home crowd out there at Comerica, which would be very cool. Send they're not the Commanders, they're the Guardians. There we go. Thank you. Send them back home with a loss. And then the other game tonight, Yankees and Royals rather. So that one is 2-1 as well in favor of the Yankees. So the Yankees could close that one out as well. So you either find out that you're playing the Yankees tonight, or you wait to see who wins the next one between the Royals and Yankees as well.
It's going to be an interesting matchup. I don't know who they're going to start tonight, the Tigers. The Guardians are starting Tanner Bibby, who shut out the Tigers in game 1. But that was on Saturday. So dude's only had like 5 days rest with his arm. So that could come back to bite him. I don't think Scooble's going to be starting because I think they're going to hold off either for game 5 or
the start of the next series.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting, but the Tigers have a lot of weapons in their arsenal, in their bullpen. I think if they just keep the bats alive, if you can get freaking Torkelson to wake up and actually do what he did yesterday, and that's contribute to the well-being of the team.
I mean, tonight could be one of those games where it's pitched by committee.
Yeah.
They put guys out there for 2 or 3 innings and just, if they're hot, leave them. If they're starting to wane a little bit, take them out.
I will say if they can get on Baby quick and get some hits going and get some runs going and get him out early, that's going to be tough for the Guardians to go up against.
Yeah.
Because he's probably one of their best pitchers.
The one thing we have seen though with the Guardians though is if you do rattle them early, it's a little tough for them. That's a team that just doesn't do a lot of comebacks,
right?
And if you make a real strong presence there, it's tough, especially in playoff baseball because you can get down pretty quick. So Guardians are favored just barely tonight. But I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they have announced who's pitching and the Tigers have not. One thing to note, though, and we were talking about this at the beginning of the show today, you looked into tickets to get over there for the game. You said the only thing you found left was standing room, right?
That's the only thing that's left is standing room only.
Mm-hmm.
So playoff tickets completely sold out. If you want to sit down, you're going to be sitting on concrete. Not seeing anything.
But we do have something up at WRKR.com and on the 1077 RKR app. Michigan police want to help you avoid ticket scams for the Tigers games if they do move on.
True.
And end up playing for the ALCS. Especially there, ticket prices are going to be a lot higher. People are going to be able to take advantage of that or want to take advantage of that. You want to make sure that you're buying tickets the right way, because the last thing you want to do is, plan on going to Detroit to see history and then end up at home on your couch watching history through whatever streaming at the Discovery Channel +7 app or whatever that they broadcast those games. I don't know anymore.
Except, minus $125 because you got scammed.
Right. So just make sure you're paying attention to those tickets if you're planning on going out there and buying tickets for the games. And make sure you're going through proper channels as well. I know there's bots out there and I know they're reselling them for high numbers and stuff. It's the nature of the beast, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. But yeah, just make sure you're getting these tickets from relevant sources and not some dude named Joe,
Yeah.
Somebody on Facebook is like, "Oh, I'm selling my Tigers tickets. If the price feels and looks too good to be true, I can almost guarantee you for a game like this and a series like this with the Tigers in this historical moment, it's too good to be true. Don't buy those tickets from Joe. It's a bad